All right, a major development here in the Big Apple. New York City mayoral candidate Brad Lander is detained for several hours by federal agents after he was seen hanging on to ICE agents escorting a defendant in court. Lander was later released after his assault charges were dropped, but he and other New York Democrats are lashing out following the arrest.
Trump is trying to ratchet up conflict. He wants it to happen. That's what today was about. We have to show up and do things like I did today.
I think it was a disgusting display of the thuggery of Trump's ICE.
Do you want to know what I really think?
Please.
It's bull. How dare they?
Fox News contributor and senior writer for the Washington Examiner, Joe Concha, joins me now. Joe, if this whole situation seems familiar to you, it's because Senator Alex Padilla pulled a similar stunt at Kristi Noem's press conference just last week. And here he is, the senator, crying about his detainment on the Senate floor yesterday. Watch this.
I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why. I pray you never have a moment like this.
So is this about immigrant rights or winning elections and getting headlines?
Illegal immigrant rights, right, Carly? And let's be very clear about this to answer your question. These arrests were completely contrived and rehearsed. Brad Lander, for example, the first gentleman that you showed there, if you want to call him a gentleman at all, wanted his arrest to happen, as did Senator Alex Padilla wanted his arrest to happen. Look, in Lander's case, he's trailing badly in the polls. He's running for mayor here in New York City, and he knew that the media would portray him as a martyr, as a victim. And sure enough, as you just showed, he did multiple interviews last night, including on MSNBC, CNN primetime, where he got what was, the equivalent of a rhetorical hot stone massage from the so-called anchors there. Know this, almost all Democrats, not named John Fetterman, will now try to get themselves arrested, too, by obstructing and or assaulting federal officers. So they, too, can get a bunch of media attention and fundraise off of it, as Senator Alex Padilla did 5 minutes after his arrest when he was released. This is cheesy performance art by Democrats. And remember, they're doing this while preventing ICE from arresting those here illegally in the country for committing violent crimes. They are taking the 1% of the country's side on this to try to support these people that should be deported. And they're not going to win any national elections anytime soon if they continue to do this, but it will happen today, tomorrow, next week. We're going to see more Democrats arrested because this plays to the far left extreme part of their base. But again, most Americans know exactly what this is all about, and it ain't about immigrant rights. That's certainly for sure.
Well, I think, Joe, that some Republicans are gonna think that we're going from bad to worse here, because here is Congresswoman Ilhan Omar on how she really feels about this country, a country that she was elected to serve and taxpayers are paying her salary, following ICE arrests and President Trump's military parade on Saturday. Watch this.
To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries. It is really shocking, and it should be a wake-up call for all Americans to say this is not the country we were born in. This is not the country we believe in.
Joe, I don't know how you watch that military parade that celebrates the best among us, the young men and women who are willing to serve and die for our country, and look at that and say that our country is the worst. But that's what she did.
It's just remarkable, Carly. I'll be quick here. Ilhan Omar, I'm sure many viewers right now watch a clip like that and say, OK, if you think that this country is so bad, then you can leave. You don't have to live here anymore. You could go back to wherever you came from, and no one's going to argue with this in any way, shape, or form. Celebrating our military, to your point, people that put their lives on the line in the U.S. Army on Saturday's case, and say that that display makes us the worst country in the world or one of the worst, I'm sorry, then you don't have to be here anymore, Congresswoman. It's really that simple, but that's the position that they're taking. And again, this does not resonate very well with most of the country, except for the far left, and that's where we're at. But anyway, Carly, great to see you.
Good to see you,
Want to leave on a
too.
nice, happy note. Hope all is well with Brock and the rather large husband that you have, and we'll do this again soon.
Thank you so much. I think we should leave it there. Why not? Joe Concha, live for us. Thank you. Yeah.
And back here at home, the Democrats are trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. They're fighting. They're interrupting meetings. They're interrupting court hearings, just trying to get on TV. These are people that you probably don't even know. For instance, we had the Democratic mayor out in Newark arrested at the detention facility. We had Alex Padilla, that senator who you never knew before, getting arrested as he interrupted or getting thrown out as he was interrupting Kristi Noem's presser. And now the latest one is Brad Lander. He's running for mayor. He's a Democrat here in New York City.
I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway.
We are not going to allow Donald Trump to wreck the rule of law, to deny people due process, and to turn our country into something that doesn't meet its obligations under international law. And so I just engaged in that tradition of accompaniment, of trying to bear witness, of trying to walk peacefully with someone, of trying to make sure that the rules are followed.
I love that ICE cracked down on him. He's sitting there gripping a reporter and an illegal immigrant, and they said, let go. He wouldn't. So we're going to throw his ass right out. They put him in handcuffs. They didn't end up charging him, according to the governor, but he deserved to be charged. What does it take for these lawmakers to respect law enforcement? ICE got a job to do. They're an illegal immigrant. They're out of there. You have a problem, go through the legal process. DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin.
If you lay hands on a law enforcement officer or impede their enforcement actions, you will be arrested, just as we saw here. But Brian, even more than that, we're seeing an epidemic of Democrat politicians who are seeking higher office, much like the mayor of Newark, who went and crashed Delaney Hall and tried to get into a secure facility. Then earlier this week, we saw Senator Padilla, a sitting U.S. senator, go and crash Secretary Noem's press conference and aggressively approach her. I mean, this is just the third one in a row. These guys want their 15 minutes of fame, and they want to do it off the backs of our ICE law enforcement officers, and we won't stand for it in this administration. Our law enforcement officers, their safety comes first, and so does the American citizens as well.
You know why they keep doing this? Is because there's no consequences. There's no real consequences. And they keep trying to say this is like the civil rights movement. What are you talking about? First of all, there's no legal standing here. These are people that have criminal warrants or have final deportation orders. The second thing is, during the civil rights movement, people were not carrying other countries' flags. They wanted to be Americans. They wanted the same rights as Americans. They were Americans. The fact is, what you see with these Democrats is no respect for law enforcement and no respect for the rule of law. And I honestly think it's going to backfire, but I'm so tired of them saying, this is our new civil rights issue. It's not the same.
It's an insult. And he's running against the progressive guy named Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders just endorsed him. So did AOC. And he is so progressive, he wants free everything. He wants government-run grocery stores with free groceries, free subways.
Defund the police.
He wants to defund the police. Free buses.
Free
Who's going to pay for that?
$30 minimum wage. This guy actually really never had a job his whole life. He lives with his mom, and he's a household maker, but it's sad that this city would consider somebody like that because he's his close number 2 in the race. It is crazy because the guy who number 1 just was accused of harassing 9 women. And we know what he's done with the nursing homes.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.